swingers, nudists, and shitting in a box. That was the best Lakefront Empire episode that we get to unpack on episode number 2 tonight. Dude, that was good. That was a good episode.
Well, it was good. I'm already excited to read the social media, the lake area comments about the things that weren't done, were said, what was not shown correctly, how they did all the stuff, because it's constant all week long leading up to it. And I'm excited to kind of dive into that. And I actually took a bunch of notes, and I actually have information about every property that they showed today. And we'll talk a little bit about that too. So yeah.
I mean, not only did it start with a bang, but it ended with a bang because he got his property. And now, for those of you that are,
I don't know about all that. We'll talk about that towards the end.
Ooh, all right. Ooh, there's a cliffhanger. Let's go.
and I'm gonna put a disclosure out there. What I say here are my own thoughts and based on the information I have. So let's just put it that way. So we can dive in more, and maybe it'll be like one of those movies where I think it was Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, where they pop up and they're like, message. Like maybe we'll do that every time I give just my opinion and just the information that I have in front of me.
Fair. Or just give it to me and I'll unload it because I got nothing to lose.
True, very true. So,
all right, man. We're gonna start on this one.
Here. I need to turn you up a little bit so I can hear you.
Let's get down and dirty, man. This thing started. It started right out with the ferals, right? It started with the fishing. Is that right?
Yeah, but we got to talk about that first.
Yeah.
Okay, they, and again, maybe they haven't went fishing much in their life, but the big red flag for me is who fishes out of an open bow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that first.
Yeah.
Come on. I'm not a professional fisherman. Although Peggy's husband, you could see he had an open face rod and reel, and he hooked that bass like he was Bill Dance on the Chattahoochee River. But they're fishing out of an open bow. Okay,
yeah,
you get it, right?
I've been to the Bassmasters. They do all kinds of fishing tournaments. The bass boats that are on the Lake of the Ozarks are insanity. That looked like bootleg central. Yeah.
Now I will tell you, they were just up from Backwater Jacks, and one of that cove they were fishing in is where Eagle Bay condos are. And it's always funny when you see that dock. And if you go back and watch, you can see a gigantic Go Fast boat sticking 10 feet out of its dock slip. And it's pretty obnoxious, but that's actually a really cool little condo complex back there. They're like townhouse style condos. I listed one and sold one over there, but side note. But yeah, that was to watch them fish and to kind of experience it a little bit. And then I think, that was like Lake of the Ozarks fishing. We're going to kind of show something a little different. And then the episode just kind of blew up from there, right? Mm-hmm. The Farrell brothers get a phone call while they're on the boat. They've got this buyer coming in. And let's talk about that buyer and maybe a little bit about how that kind of tripped your trigger a little bit. Maybe if we were looking at the texts that were going on as we were prepping for this, a light went off. I could say a bunch of different stuff, but go ahead.
I'll tell you exactly what it did. I texted you and said, "Oh, this just got good." That's what I said.
Well, we should have known because the title of the episode was Risque Resort. So we should have known ahead of time we were going to see something a little different, something that's, a lot of people know the Lake of the Ozarks for, and I'm going to let you go ahead and say it.
I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to say. I will say this. Did you notice when they were on the boat and he was telling Peggy and her husband about it, that their reaction was almost like speechless? I mean, maybe that's just what they caught on camera, but it almost looked like they were, embarrassed, or, I don't know what the word would be, but it was interesting how that went down.
I don't know that there's ever a time, professionally, personally, or whatever, that when that topic came up, there isn't a little bit of a like, what? Yeah, like it's still kind of taboo and all of those things. But I did notice that they were a little taken back for a second. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Although, this guy is bringing this business to the lake. It doesn't currently exist. And I have zero doubts that he will find success at the Lake of the Ozarks.
I don't foresee a problem with him finding a spot and to make that business work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and to each their own. No judgment here. This is the trust tree. This is the no judgment zone. Whatever folks got to do and want to do, that's up to them.
I mean, my wife and I have already applied, so
you're a card-carrying member of the Risque Resort at Lake of the Ozarks. That might not actually be, but again, another message. We'll talk about that later.
Yes. Okay.
So another thing that caught my eye, and I would love to hear what you have to say, but I had never heard of anywhere at the Lake of the Ozarks being referred to as Cedar Bluff.
Where did they bring that up at? I didn't catch that.
When they were showing the very first property, the house, it was over. It's actually, I've got it here, but the Triple K Ranch, the Triple K Ranch,
for the Risque guy.
Yeah, Risque guy, the swinger. Let's just go ahead and say it. He's looking to bring nudist and swinger colony resort to Lake of the Ozarks. And if you heard earlier, Jeff's pretty excited about it. Me, I'm like, whatever, do your thing. But when they were talking before they showed the first property, the Triple K Ranch, which is actually currently still listed at $2,949,900, but they said it was located in Cedar Bluff. I had never heard of the Cedar Bluff. I've never heard anyone say those two words in Lake of the Ozarks. We hear Rocky Mount, Sunrise Beach, Lynn Creek, Climax, like all of those things. Naturally, you go right to Climax.
I mean, come on, as if it wasn't appropriate.
Like, how did they not have a property to show them in Climax Springs either? Like, but Cedar Bluff, and it turns out, you can't see it here because we're not pulling up and we're not all that fancy with the screen share and stuff. But Cedar Bluff is kind of that bluff that runs along, like at the 32, 33 mile marker as you come out of around the corner at Four Corners on the right.
On the main channel?
On the main channel. So like it would be the easiest way I could describe it. It's kind of the starting line of the shootout. Like it's going to be right in that general vicinity on that what would be the east side of the lake.
So the sunrise side?
It's the sunrise side.
Okay.
And it's right there at the 31, 32, 33 mile marker. And
that's
if
considered Cedar Bluff.
Yeah, and I even saw it on maps when I was doing the research. So yeah, Cedar Bluff. They showed the gentleman looking to start a resort. They showed him the Triple K Ranch. It was listed at 2.949. Had multiple houses on it. Big view. Lots of privacy. And what we're seeing happen a lot, he did not purchase it. Yeah. Seems to be the theme of episodes 1 through 4, with a couple of outliers of, actually purchasing the property or the boat. But what do you think of that property?
First of all, I didn't realize where that was. I think in general it was a great property, but for what he wanted, I mean, it was actually, the one thing I will say about it is what is it? Joel Farrell,
Justin and Jonas.
Justin. Sorry, Justin was like super pushy. As soon as he got there, you knew he wasn't buying it. Like he immediately said, "There's no privacy. It's too hilly." And Justin just kept saying, "Well, you got to see it. Come on, let's go see it. Come on, let's go see it." He just kept saying, "Well, it's got this. Well, it's got that. Well, it's got this. It's got," and it was like, dude, just shut up. See, he was pulling a Peggy right there, in my opinion, of just kind of feeling pushy. I don't know if that's made for TV or if they really do real estate like that.
I'm like we talked about in the first episode. I'm going to lean on that that's made for TV. But because I've been in their shoes, and let's talk one thing about that specifically. Whenever I don't know that people understand when someone calls you and is like, "Hey, I want to buy a place at the lake," right? And they're like, "I'm going to be here on Tuesday and Wednesday. We got to look at every possible thing." And if you don't have a relationship with that person and you don't know what they're actually looking for, their list can be a mile long, but you might actually really only have two things in that mile long list that actually matter. And as an agent, if you're going to that property and you're feeling pretty good about it, and I would, we don't know how well Justin and Jonas knew this gentleman before. We caught a little bit of it while they were fishing off an open bow, but if he gave you 5 or 6 things and you've got a couple days, because it sounded like he's from Vegas, he's flying in. So like your goal is to be as efficient and get as much as you can in front of him. So I'll always lean on, you don't really know unless you know or have a relationship. But for me, I thought it checked off a lot of boxes, like to be up on that bluff, to have the trees and the multiple houses. Like if that property first hit the market and I didn't know someone really well, but I knew they were looking for privacy and a place to have a potential resort, regardless of what it's for, like that would have checked off a lot of boxes for me. So
Yeah. Generally speaking, when you use the word resort, but when you put the word nudist and swinger in front of it, it changes things.
yeah, but that one was like up on a bluff surrounded by trees.
Yeah, but like he said, these people are going to want to go down. They want to cover the property, and if he's going to have access to the water, then they're going to be down there naked.
Okay, touche. But I mean, it.
Like
In there,
you can't put rules. Now that's one thing I've just learned. Just what little I watched of this show, this guy, you can't put rules on his guests. They got to be able to do their thing wherever they want to do their thing. And on that property, for example, the neighbor's dock is literally butting right up against their property. So, like, if I'm the neighbor's teenage boy,
you're sitting on that
I'm
dock
setting up
all day
camp right
long.
down there. Damn right I am.
They will work for tips, like
Yeah,
whatever
right.
you can do to
Well,
be in front. But okay, so let me rephrase that a little bit. If his priority was to be as close to the water as possible for a resort,
I don't think
there's
that was his goal, though. He never
but
said that.
we don't necessarily know all of it. And if he calls and says I want to resort at or on Lake of the Ozarks, at face value, that property like actually checks a lot of boxes, other
Yeah,
than maybe being naked on a boat dock.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. If to me, if you're gonna want the privacy that he wanted on the water, he's gonna have to be deep in a cove that where there's no, residential housing.
yeah, or in this case, on the side of a mountain, like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If you don't want to get down in the water, if you don't want to
right.
get down in the water.
Right. So we've talked about it. We Triple K Ranch. It again. I mentioned earlier. It's still on the market. 2,949,000. So if you're watching this and you're interested in a resort on the water, but not going to be a nudist colony or a swingers colony resort, like, hey, give me a shout. But regardless, it's on the market. It's still there. We know they didn't buy it.
I see no mention of Cedar Bluff either. By the way, it's all
It
Sunrise Beach.
It was on I wish I could pull up a screenshot, but it's on a map that I saw. It's right there, Cedar Bluff. And again, it's just another. I'm learning. You learn something new about the lake every day. So let's move on. All right. So now we got client buyer number 2, Val. So we did a little research, and Peggy called her Val Gal. Maybe other couple of little like names for her in there, but I went ahead and dug a little bit, and Val does own a charter company, and it's called Prescription to Charter. So anybody watching this and you're looking for a boat charter while you're at the lake and like even off season, she said in there, Val seemed awesome and seemed like she'd be a good time to have out on the water and knew a lot. So Val, shout out to you and your company, Prescription to Charter. But I want to back up. I want to talk specifically about going to the dam and what is on the dam, and kind of highlight the strip and a little bit about, old time photos. And I got a question for you regarding old time photos.
Mm-hmm.
And then I actually got 2 questions, and we would love in the comments to kind of tell us your thoughts too. But the strip, give me your thoughts on the strip.
Oh, well, I mean, specifically about what you just mentioned, or just a non.
Just for folks watching that are listening to this and maybe know a little bit about the strip and maybe what they didn't show on tonight's episode about the strip, just
touristy. I can, old school touristy area that's now becoming new school again. But you think of the beginning of the strip, which is, like the fudge and the arcade and the shops where you can buy souvenirs. And then you go down a little further on the right side, there's more shops and there's the old town photos. And then you sprinkle in like brand new restaurants like Tucker Shuckers, or, that outdoor gymnasiums area, Malted Monkey and all that kind of stuff. The strip 5 years ago was effectively dead. The strip today is coming back, and it's coming back hard. And I'm excited about it, man.
Well, we can't not talk about the negatives of the strip though. And like just last weekend, there was a gunshot or a gun fired there. However, with that being said, like the cool part about the strip is the upper half is like very family friendly stuff to do. There's a big dance floor. Like there's some cool things to do. And like you mentioned, the shops, the arcades, all the stuff that's going on up there. And then below, you even did a video on TikTok and you highlighted the new stuff that George Tucker, Paradise, Frankie and Louise, that they're doing on the end of the strip next to Neon Taco that they already own and have. But really is a cool up and coming area. And like one thing I tell folks too that are buying properties down here, especially investment properties, the strip has something going on basically until Christmas, New Year's, and then kind of slows down for about a month, and then it picks up. So there's some incremental nightly rentals and stuff you can do down there that help on the investment side too. So it's kind of cool to see.
Yeah. Tell me about the shooting. I didn't hear about that.
I don't know a bunch. I'm not trying to have salacious clickbait headlines, but there was, I think it was Friday night, there was somebody unloaded or shot one shot in the air or something down there, and I saw they were arrested. So
dumbass. So your salacious headlines. So you're saying that nudists and swingers is not that will qualify?
No, I am 110% here for those salacious headlines. I'm just not here for like fake news. It's a dangerous place to be. Like you see that, and we talked about it. Like I see the social media aspect of Lake of the Ozarks and the lake area happenings and all the different Facebook groups and stuff. And like, the first people to comment are the Karens that are like, this place is getting overran and the casino's bad and crime and all the stuff. And like, I'm not going to sit here and make anyone think that the strip is dangerous. I would take my kids there tomorrow and have lunch and a drink and enjoy the strip. There's bad apples, man. They're everywhere. Like it is what it is. Like I'm gonna roll. I don't even want to say that. Somebody will be in the comments but like it's a safe, fun, family friendly place. After 9:00 on a Friday night, probably not going to be family friendly and safe. But hot summer nights on the strip, with the car show, Magic Dragon car show, the shootout street party they have every Wednesday of the shootout is one of the coolest, funnest lake events and probably the biggest aside from the shootout. Like, I don't know if there's a bigger event than the street party on Wednesday nights.
It's my favorite. I mean, the biker stuff is pretty big. I know they do some car stuff, but yeah, I tell you right now, if shameless plug, not that I have any gain out of it, but if you are a shootout person, spend the entire week down there, or get your ass back down there on that Wednesday and go to that. That might be as good as the shootout itself.
Yeah, and they're actually they're working on an open container thing right now with that too. So hopefully it'll officially be open container. It's kind of always been allowed to a certain extent, but never like you're always kind of breaking the law. That's one. I will give a critique of the show that I've seen, and this is strictly to HGTV. Like I am 110% confident that I could get them better overall lake footage of like the lake. Not necessarily the houses, not necessarily the interviews, but just like how if you're mentioning the strip and showing the strip and talking about how do you not have some drone footage from Hot Summer Nights or Magic Dragon or the the street party. Like come on. Like let's show the lake, like come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Like
all they had to do was reach out.
Right. like you can find it. I mean, and in this day and age, you can steal it everywhere you look. Like, download it. Like, give us some more. Make that part of the lake better, because that's what this show is ultimately doing. Not only is it showing buying and selling of properties, but it's a gigantic commercial for Lake of the Ozarks. Like, let's give people what they want.
Yeah.
So, okay, I got 2 questions for you.
Okay.
That directly go to the strip. Old time photos. My wife will not do one with me. PTSD from a previous relationship of mine, and she just thinks they're dumb. But will have you not done them, and Sarah would do them, or do we need to just take Greer and Winter, and me and you and Greer and Winter do our own old time photos? Because my wife's not doing it.
I'd say, I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask her. I think I did it one time in my first marriage, and so there would be same. And I thought it was really dumb. By the way, I thought it was really dumb.
It's dumb. It's as dumb as can be. But it's like, I don't feel like you can be American and not have some sort of old time photo somewhere in your house.
Go to Branson.
Oh, we go to Branson every year for Christmas, and every year
that's like Old Town Photo Central right there.
Every year I beg the whole time we're there. The only thing I ask for is old time photos, and I've got Greer ready to do it, but Crystal and Allie will not do it.
Oh yeah, I'll do it for you, buddy. I'll do it for you.
So we can have some. Okay, then the other question I have: they showed taffy. Like, let's talk about taffy. It's terrible, right?
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. No.
Like you can get, it's like Jones Soda. Like, you can get every flavor of taffy under the sun. Like, you want foot deodorant flavored taffy, you can find it. But it all tastes like foot deodorant.
You give me a rural town, and I'll find you a place that sells taffy.
What about, we need to do a podcast on Uranus.
Yeah, we do. Boy, do we ever.
They sell taffy there and fudge.
Also, yes, they do. It's the
Did you see
the best fudge? You can find the best fudge in Uranus.
Yeah, the guy just ate 13.5 pounds of fudge last weekend, like in the fudge eating challenge in Uranus. Like, okay, so let's move on.
How did I not know about that? Shit, I need to go down to
that. Excuse me. Let's move on. Sorry, I got a bit of a cold. I'm kind of coming down from it, but all right. So I want to talk. Let's talk about shit in a box, because that's what we're going to name this, and that's what Peggy said a bunch. Let's talk about shit in a box. Shit in a box. Give me your thoughts on that property.
Well, I'll tell you what jumped out at me was Peggy's eloquence or lack thereof. And my wife walked in, and she has not watched an episode yet. She's watched bits and pieces, but this is her bedtime, And so she
Mine
comes
too.
out and she goes, "Did that agent just say freaking?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I think maybe she did." And then like a few 30 seconds later, she says it again. And she's like, "What is this? Like, how unprofessional is that?" And I'm like, no, I don't. I mean, I have a potty mouth. I have no room to talk. But it was interesting that was the way that she articulated on television.
Yeah, it was a. I mean, I like to use freaking, but I probably just drop the bomb and say fucking at this point. Like,
But then they bleep you, so it's like I don't know. Freaking's worse because at least if you cuss, because the buyer did cuss and said shit in a box, and they beeped her out, which
yeah.
is stupid. Why are you beeping out shit on cable television? Come on.
Hey, we'll talk to the producers on that.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get their ear.
So let's talk about that particular property, and let's talk about Shouses. Like, yay or nay? First, yes, no. You down for him? You for him? You against him?
What?
Shouses.
What's
Shouses? Like condo, barn dominium,
Oh,
shop
barn
houses.
No, that's definitely not my style. No, definitely.
Okay.
Not.
Second,
But I don't have a lot of tools, and I don't have a tractor. So
fair. I don't think it's a prerequisite to like a Shouse to own a tractor.
You find me one that doesn't have a side-by-side, 2 4-wheelers, a tractor, and a bunch of tools.
Yeah, you're probably right.
And then I'll believe you.
And you know what's funny about the Shouses in the real estate world is people love them, and then they go plan one and try to build it, and they realize it costs like 30% more than a stick home because they're cheaper. They're okay. If you went, and I'm generalizing here, but if you went contractor grade house and contractor grade Shouse, you probably do save a lot of money. The problem is no one wants to go contractor grade on Shouses because that's not what gets shared on social media. They get shared with radiant floor heating, lofts, and all that. Then you start factoring in everything it takes to do one of those and have it insulated right and have all the finishings and 25-foot ceilings and the heat and air. Like, you really don't save any money. If you were just going basic, like if you were building a cabin at the lake, like if I bought a lake lot and was trying to economically build somewhere to live on the lake, I think a Shouse makes a ton of sense because you would make it very basic. It's all about being outside. It's all about outdoor living. It's all about having a spot to store your side by side and your 4-wheeler, and maybe you have a tractor that you want to do a little bit of like road work, but you're probably having to build it up on the 52-mile marker or higher. So like, but
So you're saying I can't build a Shouse at Old Kinderhook?
No, I'm pretty sure they'll put a lien on your house immediately, lien on your property. No, they can be really cool. And like, there's some really neat ones. There's a couple of Shouses down the Big Niangua and stuff that people built ahead of the Shouse craze. And like I said, for versatility, you can't beat it. But like, let's talk about that particular property. Okay. We've made light of the shit in a box. The bathroom sink drained into the bathtub.
Yeah, and Peggy acted like that was cool. There's nothing cool about that.
I mean, she made some good points. Like, you brush your teeth and rinse your mouth out. Like, why does it need to go into the septic when it
I
can
tell you
just
what,
go in the shower?
I just cleaned out my wife's bathroom drain about a week ago, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what she puts down the drain. And I have a feeling she's pretty normal when it comes to what women put down drains. And I'm going to tell you right now, that shit probably flows out into that tub, and then you pretty much have to rinse it. Because think about all the makeup that's coming off a woman's face. Think about all the things that they're doing. They might be cleaning their nails or so. I don't know what it is. And all that shit's running down into that drain. And if you don't push it and, wash it down the shower drain, how much buildup is going to be right around there? Yeah.
All right.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I think, but you also have to think it now that lady Val was going to live there.
Yep.
But if you were just going to be at the lake for a weekend or a couple days, like, man,
Sure.
I kind of get it. Like,
Yeah.
because let's face it, when you're at the lake, you want to be outside. Like taking a shower when you're at the lake for the weekend is an afterthought. Like list of priorities when you leave St. Louis or Kansas City and come to the lake, like item number 27B with a little one is like take a shower before I go home.
For every guy, but for every female getting out of that lake, they're like the first thing they have to do is shower.
Hey, let's just do what Kaiser does and have an outdoor shower and all the stuff that goes with that house. But
that house is still for sale, by the way.
Okay, so let's talk. I want to hear your thoughts though. So Val puts in an offer at $300,000 with the thought of being able to build a big dock and put a wave break in for the difference. So property listed at 400, she wants to offer 300, give her 100,000 to play with for dock, not shitting in a box, and a wave break.
You know what didn't make sense about that, and they didn't even address, because first of all, to put in a wave break and a 3-bay dock is probably going to be more than $100,000. And then you factor in the fact that you know what I did say, Ramsey? I would love that property just so I can exercise those stairs.
Okay, yeah.
Because that was intense. There's no way in hell you're going to have to put in a path. That would probably be another 20, 30 grand if you don't have landscaping, at least. I mean, she would have been off her rocker, man. No way.
Okay, so back up though, because I did make a note here and I hadn't got to it yet. But we got to give Peggy a round of applause, and basically 99.9% of anyone else that's ever been at the lake for saying Bagnall correctly.
Oh yeah, I saw that on your notes. I didn't catch that. She better say it right. I mean, she's a lifer.
For those of you who don't know, Mr. Fitzer made a really good TikTok about a new restaurant on the Strip. Right when news broke, partnered with Lake Expo on it. Really cool, did everything right, except for, he said, Bagnell. Bag toenail, bag nail of glass, like bag of nails. Like it's Bagnall. Jeff, like you learned your lesson, right?
It's I pronounced it how it's spelled. Bagnell.
But you pronounced it wrong.
Well, F. You know what? Just like Versailles.
Well, yeah, if you're in France.
You must not be from around these parts there, Jeff.
Come on, boy. You know better than that. No, I had to throw that in.
I do know now. Bagnall.
Okay. So we've talked about shit in a box property. I want to talk about the next one that Peggy took her to. That was over in Sunrise Beach and was an A-frame. I'm a big fan of A-frames, especially for like weekend trips, that sort of thing. Airbnb, like you can make them so cool and like fun and like trendy or whatever. What do you think that one sold for? It was listed for $319 in the back of a cove, A-frame. It was listed at $319. What do you think it sold for?
Yeah, and that was a one bed. One bed,
it was
one
a
bath,
one bedroom,
right?
One bedroom, one bath, back of a shallow cove.
Yeah.
A-frame.
I'm gonna go under. And say it was under 300.
Yes, it sold for $250.
Oh wow! I was gonna say in the 290s. Okay,
yeah.
wow.
So that particular property, and I think I can give the addresses here. I'm sorry if I ever bought it. They're going to be telling the address, but that was 88 Alpine Point, listed at $319, sold for $250K.
Wow! So and that was where on the lake?
That was roughly the 36, 37. I don't remember exactly. Right in there. Mm-hmm. So give folks watching an idea of what an A-frame on Lake of the Ozarks. They tried. Was
that real near Captain Ron's?
It's past Captain Ron's.
On the other side
under Hurricane Deck Bridge, and it'll be there on the right. It's tucked back in a corner. I've passed it.
Close to you.
Yeah, just up the water from me. Awesome location. And that view, like out that little cove into the main channel, like solid view. But
Yeah, but not for that buyer. Not for that buyer needing a 3-bay dock. That wasn't going to work.
no, and it's not for every buyer, and the fact that just that water depth's not conducive to year round.
Yeah.
It's what I struggle with. We don't have water all year, so and when you go to buy it and then you go to sell it, you've got a discount off premium. So
Yeah.
square footage price, none of that really matters, especially since it was an A-frame and 1 bedroom. All right, so we touched base on that one. Cool little property, sold for $250K. Now, then they went back to the island for the swinger
Yeah.
resort nudist colony.
What a waste of time that was.
Yeah. Okay, so, but again, dealing with the client wants something like this, wants privacy, like that. And I mean, it's an island, like that kind of checks the box. And this guy clearly has a budget.
In
It's
theory.
clear. Okay, fair.
In theory, because again, yes, on the surface makes perfect sense until you see that the island is a stone's throw from a crowded residential area.
True.
And then they hadn't done that. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised the dude wasn't more pissed about it. Like, you just wasted how much of my day? I mean, cool, I got to go for a boat ride, but you didn't even know that there wasn't a dock. You didn't know there wasn't even a way to get the boat to the shore to get off the boat. I'd have been pissed. I've been like, come on, man.
I'm gonna take Jonah and Justin's side on this though. If you're looking at multi-million-dollar properties and you're not scared of them, and you can buy an island with a foundation,
Yeah.
and it says it has a dock, if you're looking at the pictures and it says dock or whatever, and at $900K, so did a little research too.
Mm-hmm.
That one was listed at $900K. It expired. Nobody bought it. The island next to it which was a little smaller in size.
Yep.
I don't remember the year. Guess what? The smaller island next to it sold for. This one was listed at $900K. The last time the other island sold in the MLS with data, guess what it sold for?
How long ago?
I think it was like 2016 ish.
Man, I'm gonna say 250,000.
Bingo. Right on the no 215. I'm sorry, 215.
Okay. Well, that was pretty close, ain't bad.
2016, 215K. And let's talk about that island. That island had a septic system, had electric to it, and had a well. Like, where else in the world can you buy an island for $900,000 that all you got to do is build a house? It had a foundation too. Like, I mean, there's some opportunity there, in my opinion.
It's funny. It's funny when you read about it online. It says nestled off the coast of Sunrise Beach, Missouri.
Yeah. Hey, they're not wrong, though.
Iconic Twin Islands. I mean, I don't know about all iconic and all that stuff, but
there is another island right outside of Tantera, Margaritaville. There's an island.
Yeah.
It's actually owned by
been for sale for a long time too.
Yep, owned by a Lebanon guy.
Really?
Yeah, it's big. Yeah. Cool island.
I thought I heard about doing a restaurant out there or something. Is that?
I think it's always been rumored, or somebody. Hey, and while we're talking about this too, I got to give another shout out to the Swift crew. At the time that they filmed this, Landry, who had one of the listings from the previous show, had the listing for the island. So pretty cool seeing those guys out there doing their thing. Just a little plug for them. So we've talked about the charter company. We've talked about the shit in a box. We've talked about, all right. So I hinted earlier at some news or some follow up to some of the things. So let's talk about the final property that they showed, the Show Me Acres Ranch, I believe is what they called it. It was called at one point, that used to be a nudist colony that fit to a T, other than being on the water, which we don't know that he really was specifically wanting on the water. And we also know that it would be really hard to find that type of property on the water. But the Show Me Acres Resort listed at a cool 3.2 million, and they made an offer.
56 acres.
56 acres for the property.
I think that's what it said. Yeah.
Let me pull something up here because I want to give you the most accurate data. 356 acres.
Oh gosh, yeah. Sorry.
So you can
I
hear when
left the digit
Peggy,
out.
you can hear when Peggy says freaking, but you can't hear when they say 356 acres. But who's making note? Who's really paying attention to that? I mean, okay. So
Olympic size pool.
Olympic size pool literally checks every possible box for this guy. And he did make a comment that he had some repair work to do and some updating and some of that. So it wasn't perfect, because perfect he would have found turnkey, ready to go, all of that. And he makes an offer, 2.8 million off of 3.2 million list price. So we're looking at a 400K swing on that amount of money. What's that math? That's roughly is that a 10% knock in price? 15%? What is my math? Am I mathing right? I don't know.
It's 12.5%.
12.5%. So he offered 12.5% off list price at a $3.2 million, and the sellers took it.
Yeah, I thought it was happy. I thought it was a happy ending. And then you're gonna burst my bubble here, aren't you?
Except for, according to the MLS, that listing expired.
Is it possible they just didn't? Somebody just didn't update their records properly?
Well, I did some more research after that, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I kind of know the listing agent, but the current owner of record is the same owner of record as when it was listed. So I'm maybe saying the deal fell apart somewhere, somehow. I could be wrong, and I bring all that up because we don't know for sure. But the curious thing that I'm seeing in a trend here is we're not matching buyers and properties right now. Like if we're doing a baseball analogy, like we're in a slump. Like we're batting below 200. Not even, they're putting us at 8 or 9 in the lineup. Like we're not doing well. What gives?
You tell
Like
me.
I don't know. But I think it's pretty evident of the lake and the market here. Folks come down here and they have all this list of what they want. And finding something for a person that fits to a T is like, it's almost like hitting the lottery. Unless they say, I want a condo with a boat slip and I need 3 bedrooms. Like, you start looking at single family homes and water depths and year round and like what they're trying to do. And I think what you're going to see going forward, and I hope with these newer agents that come down and are trying to do it, is like there's a lot to learn about it. There's a lot to find with people. And I'm going to go back to what I was saying earlier about Justin and Jonas. Like, those dudes know what they're doing, and they've been doing it long enough that I don't think it's pushy. I think in this world, in this market, even if they're high end buyers with $3 million to buy a property, like it's still kind of hard to find somebody, especially if they're my wife that's like, I want this and that's what I want, and you don't get me anything else. Like it's hard. It's hard to find property, and you would think $3 million budget, like you can do it all, but it's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well, I mean,
tough. So
that was also, I mean, for him, it was doubly unique because of what he needed. But yeah, I get it.
right, and so it's a weird it. I'm gonna give a lot of grace to these agents because I'm not the greatest real estate agent in the world. I'm pretty good at answering my phone. I'm pretty good at making videos, and I'm pretty good at understanding what people are looking for. But to be able to do it with these cameras in your face and, you know, the spontaneity that they probably have to go through and having a film crew and schedules and timelines and all the things that go with it. Like, hats off to these guys, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all.
Are you running for office?
No, I abide by a code of ethics, and you know, I get it. Like, I'm not trying to poke holes in people. Like, it's tough. But I guess if I need to be mayor or whatever, can I be the mayor of Cedar Bluff? And can you buy me that $2.9 million Triple K ranch?
I'll
And
give you
we'll
no. Climax Springs. Let's go back to Climax.
I'm going to be the mayor of Climax.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would do. I would never say spring. I would just say Climax. Everything. Yep. Mayor of Climax. I'd do what he does at Uranus. Like, I'd figure out how to make it a play on Climax every time I said Climax. I would end it at Climax. Like, that's where I would do it. But I don't know. Let's wrap this up. Let's give me your thoughts on episode 4.
By far, my favorite episode so far. It was,
Why?
it just immediately caught your attention. They did a good job of kind of clickbaiting it and making it interesting. And honestly, curiosity will kill you. And it's interesting to kind of listen and hear how this guy is going to, it needs to find a very specific property and some of the challenges that he's got to overcome and all that sort of thing. And then, I think the shit in a box really helped make that side of the story in this episode also somewhat entertaining. It was the most entertaining episode.
Fair. So score, I think that's something we'll do too. If I remember right, the first episode you scored all 3 episodes in our first episode, but you said somewhere around like a 6, I believe, or was it a 4?
Well, might have been a yeah. I was going to say 5, but
okay. So your baseline was a 5.
Yep.
That was your floor.
Yeah.
And your ceiling would be a 10. Where are we at on this one? You think? I'm thinking you're more like a 7, 7.5.
I'm going 8.5.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, 8.5 score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, and you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you.
I do.
I'm going to go with this one was a little bit more of a letdown. Like, my pendulum is swinging the other way. And I think this was, I can't get over fishing from an open bow. Like I can't get over that part of the show. Like, I understand what those agents are doing and what they're going through and what those buyers are going through. But like, if you're going to talk about fishing and Peggy's husband is a pro, like, I need to see like a Vexus or a Bass Cat or a Triton or something. And I need to see somebody with a trolling motor, and I need to see a trucker hat. And like, because we kind of got that with the pontoon guy being the captain for Justin and Jonas of pulling up. So like, it was tough sledding for me to get over the fishing out of an open bow.
Yeah, I tell you what, if it depends how you're judging. If you're judging it based upon pure entertainment value, that's why I judged it the way I did. If you're judging it based upon how they're making the lake look, I give it a -0.5, because swingers and nudists, the judgment right there, a shouse, which is a new word for me, a she, not a she shed, but with a shit in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the 1 bed, 1 bath, I mean, that episode didn't do us any freaking justice. But you know what? I don't give a shit. So, people want to judge us based on a few Trump flags flying, or they want to judge us based on an episode, screw them.
I think we need to figure out, since we mentioned earlier, you don't pay attention to the social media groups and all of that. Like, we need to be screenshotting the most derogatory comments that we see on social media and popping them up on the screen.
Oh yeah.
And we need to be highlighting the best too, because that's what we're doing here. You're giving it from a eventually full timer and being at the lake a long time. I've been here a long time, not quite a full timer, but I'm here a lot. I work here. and I'm giving it from the agent point of view. So I would love to kind of keep carrying that over and showing, what it is, because there are some people, and like, I think too, like, I think part of my scoring is that I can't imagine being Peggy or Justin or Jonas or Sierra or any of those reading the Karens and just like, this is an entertaining TV show. Like, this isn't this is supposed to be fun. And these people,
welcome to social media though, man. People just
right.
like to hide behind social and spout off. I mean, it's, what do you expect?
No, we'll keep doing it. You need your homework is to remind me to share those comments with you, because you're better at keeping all that and remembering this stuff. My goal is just to read and find them.
I like that. I like that goal. That's a good goal.
But yeah, so we wrapped up episode 2 of Lakefront Empire Unpacked, but we talked about episode 4. Early prediction. Does this show get renewed for season 2?
I hope so.
I didn't ask if you hoped. I'm saying, does it or does it not? As of right now, if you were an executive and you were look at some of the advertisements that we're having to watch. This is the first TV show I've watched live in probably, other than sports, 7 or 8 years, easy.
After this episode, I'm going to go with yes.
You think so? Yeah. You think this episode has the stuff that will make Hollywood, LA, New York? You think this is the kind of thing they want?
I think it's going to pique more interest. Yeah.
What was one thing that was not discussed on today's episode?
Ooh, I don't know. You're stumping me.
Not one mention of Peggy and prison.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
And
but Peggy is dominating the airwaves on this show.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think you get
because the 2 minority agents, we've only seen the one guy from Jeff City one time, and it was for a small amount of time. Like, when are we going to see them?
Well, they showed episode 5 has the new agent that they showed in episode 3. I don't know when they're going to show the other agent, but I don't know if Sierra.
She's awesome.
Shout out to, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to share this, but Sierra just had a baby. That might get approached in some form or fashion later, but yeah, I think it will be. I think that looking at some of the advertisements and some of the things they got going on, I think you're going to see better. I know a lot of social media stuff. It's out there both locally and nationally. I've seen some agents talk about it in the real estate world outside of the area. So my prediction is they do. I want to see more. I want to see matchmaking. I want to see.
Yes.
I want to see I want to see you and I talk about it on the whole marketing side of things, like the day and age of the key and the closing picture, like they're from an agent marketing standpoint. But like as a viewer, I want to see these people get their lake house.
Yeah. That's one thing the show has failed.
Right. And so far we've seen some folks get a boat, and we saw a girl get a property that it didn't even really look like she was that excited about, but she ended up getting it according to the show. So that's what I want to see. Hopefully they'll wrap it all up. We talked about that the first episode, but I'm excited. If you've made it through this rambling, or you found us through a short, or you see us on TikTok or whatever, we would love for you to follow and like and download and listen. This podcast is available on everywhere. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, you name it, it's available. So we'd love a follow. It was kind of cool last week. We brought the show to people. Did you notice that? Remember one of the comments we had?
Yeah.
Dad living at the lake and had no idea there was a show.
Yeah.
And we brought it to the people.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that commenter, and hopefully you enjoyed this episode as well.
Awesome. Well, I will see you on Saturday for some go-kart action. Yeah.
That's you know what? If you made it this far and you live at the Lake of the Ozarks, you're going to be down there this weekend, which is going to be April 6th. Come on by 11:30, race go-karts and be on video.
Where at?
That is at the Winter Circle go-kart track in Osage Beach, which is kind of catty corner from On the Rise.
Okay. And so let me ask you this. Does that mean go-karts are free that day if they show up? We'll
You,
make
yeah.
something work.
For you, yes. But for every random, probably not.
If you want to see how a drone works, flying and following them and in and out of obstacles and stuff, we got Worcester Media there. It's gonna be fun.
So good. It's gonna be so
Be sure to follow him on like TikTok or whatever and see some of the stuff he's doing.
Best drone pilot I've ever seen.
So Saturday, Winter Circle, be there, be square. Next Monday night, watch Lakefront Empire episode 5, and then tune in to us for a recap next day. And we appreciate you guys. Jeff, thank you. See you this weekend. Peace. I'm out.